And welcome back to the Cisco TV studio. What a fantastic, inspiring, engaging, and collaborative opening keynote from Oliver and the entire team. So many points of inspiration, and as we've been listening, I've just been taking notes left and right, and hopefully you've been doing the same. Yes. For all of you who are tuning in on the broadcast, if you're just joining us for the first time here in the studio, welcome. We are so glad to have you here. Remember to keep reaching out to us using those social media hits, hashtag Cisco Live EMEA or at Cisco Live EMEA, whatever platform you want to reach out to us on, we're going to be out there and paying attention and watching. So Cedric, we're going to go out to Rob and Anish in a moment and get their reactions as well, but I want to talk amongst the two of us for just a moment first before we did that. And I want to start where Oliver started at the very top of the keynote, where he called AI the biggest disruption ever. And he gave a lot of reasons why that's the case. And he even said to people, well, if you want to know why it's the biggest disruption, and he went down a long list. Part of the reason he was talking about it is because the network drives innovation and technology. This is so much of what we just heard about. We've been in AI for a long time. This is not a new thing, it's not a new concept, but what is new is that disruption aspect that Oliver was talking about, and that's why it goes from technology to responsibility, responsible use of AI. I thought that was just so important, and he said, now we get to start applying AI to successful outcomes for organizations. And I think this is where a lot of people get hung up. They're still seeing AI, I don't know how to use it, I don't know how to maximize it, I'm worried about what it's going to do, but what AI is really all about is successful outcomes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is about outcomes, Steve, right? And it is about enabling your organization to do it better, to do it faster, to do it without much involvement of a human sometimes, right, AI. And I think G2 gave some really great demos about how the WebEx AI assistant can actually help you maintain or manage your policies in your security and firewall. And he also showed us that there is a hygiene aspect of it, right? Like you basically go in and you can get CLI commands as a start, but also the tool in itself helps you to basically manage all of those policies and make sure that you not have two policies at the same time. It basically enables you predictively to maintain everything better and faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up the faster part. One of my favorite things that Jonathan talked about, it's so Jonathan, that he did this. But he said, Cisco is like your NASCAR pit crew. Yeah. For AI. I thought that was really fun, where he said, we give you constant, in-the-moment insights. We're going to point out the threats as those threats show up. And what's great is that means you never have to slow down as you're on this race. You can stay in competition, you can stay up to speed, you can deliver at speed, and sometimes just knowing what AI can do for you and having that partnership within Cisco. I love that he talked about that, because so many of our customers, they come to us and they say, I know what I want to do. I have the vision, I have the goal, I have the target that I want to reach. I want to be able to scale. I want to be able to strategize for my customer demand, but I have to stay at speed to do it.
And that's where CX comes in as well, right? Like you, as I said this morning, like you buy the solution and then we have a whole post-sales organization that can help you actually get the best out of it, right? And they can use best practices from across our customers and basically help you accelerate that AI journey. And I want to add as well, and I think this is really cool, and this is just something I wrote down, I was very fascinated by it, is basically G2 showed that clip about Apple Vision Pro.
Yes.
Spatial computing, and that WebEx is a pioneer in that area. I think that's awesome. Like, I think it's going to redefine how we take meetings, it's going to redefine how we're going to do certain things, and it's great to see Cisco as one of the first vendors. Even, I think it only launched Friday, from what I know in the US.
I think you're right.
And like we're already like, this is available for you today. You can experience it, spatial computing. I think that's awesome.
And best use, field use, right? So everybody loves to talk about, the new technology comes out in that, and all anybody wants to talk about is the price tag. Oh, it's so expensive. Who in the world is going to be able to buy that? Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So we get a new technology like this that's able to get a proof of concept within WebEx. And all of a sudden now we put the technology together with the capability and the success drive. The price tag I'm not going to say that it trickles away. It's not that it's inexpensive and completely affordable for everyone, but you start to see that proof of concept paying off in terms of performance, in terms of how it supports your existing technology. technology, your existing application stack, and how people can begin to use it to not only create revenue, but to create success for the customer and for the customer's customer, and I think that's very exciting.
Because also Oliver talked about, I think he started with it, we're all about technology, right? That's how he started, but he also said we're going to talk about AI, and it's not going to be perfect. Right? It takes iterations, but we're on that game. We are there working with our customers to understand what they need, how they use it, and it's an iterative process, basically, to come to a good product. So that's just to add to your comments about, like having spatial computing capabilities.
Definitely. The other one that I wanted to bring up that I just love, did you see the customer service story on L'Oreal? Did you see the video that they played on L'Oreal? I thought that was just so impactful because they are redefining the nature of connectivity within their organization. They're adding control across a secure and AI-driven network. And they talked about their development within their laboratories, right? They have laboratories all over the world, and they're always in science as much as they are in customer service. And nobody thinks about that. You walk into the store, there's your L'Oreal product. They're the largest in the world at what they do. But he talked about them as a technology company, as an AI-driven technology company. And when we start to put together the consumer demand, the consumer need within the marketplace with that technology drive, again, now that creates the human interpersonal connection. Now it becomes meaningful. You're not just marketing a product, you're marketing an ecosystem of new technology development, of digitization, and again, of security across the network. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to have a little bit of a jump here, because I know you and I want to keep talking, but Rob Boyd had an opportunity to sit down with Jonathan Davidson for a deep dive on digitization, how AI is driving outcomes and improved customer experiences. Let's join the two of them and their conversation.
Well, very excited to be here in the studio for a change, and I get a chance to talk to Jonathan, fresh off the keynote stage, where you were speaking to, well, a great number of things, but specifically what I wanted to speak to, AI obviously is a big topic, but AI and networking, how the two are kind of driving each other, changes, benefits, drawbacks. How do you approach it? What's the best way to think about it?
Great way to think about it. So we are helping hyperscalers around the world build out their back-end AI infrastructure. These are humongous networks. We're then taking that technology and bringing it to the enterprise and simplifying it. So we talked a bit about that. But also we've integrated AI into the core of our portfolio. And so we're using AI to help generate better customer experiences using our networking portfolio. There's always, who do we blame for problems?
Yeah.
Well, the network always gets blamed. So how can we make sure is it a local network problem, a carrier problem, is it a SaaS issue somewhere? We want to be able to solve those problems rapidly.
But one big takeaway of the argument is that the networking remains even more important as a platform to enable us to really derive the benefits that we expect and that the hype is leading us to expect. It's going to require a network that can support that, it sounds like.
100%.
Okay.
Well, without the network, there is no AI.
Yeah.
I like to tell people, take your phone, put it in airplane mode and walk around for a day and see how you feel. So that's the same way with AI. You have to have a great network to be able to provide the back-end AI that's needed to transform your business. And just like every company is a software company.
Yeah.
Think about every company's going to have to be an AI software company now.
Well, and no big surprise, obviously Cisco is pro Ethernet on this as well, and we continue to work hard to say what do we need to do to make Ethernet work as the best protocol to continue to standardize even in these new areas. So we're continuing to work, I believe, with Open Ethernet and such too, is that correct?
You got it, absolutely right. So we are very committed to it. In fact, I participated in AMD's GPU launch where they had Broadcom, Arista, and myself up on stage with AMD leadership talking about how we are all going to work together to make sure that we can bring standards-based technology, i.e. Ethernet, to AI infrastructure, and we're well on our way. We're working with the majority of hyperscalers around the world. And in fact, a Bloomberg poll came out where they went and talked to enterprise customers, and for those enterprises who are using Ethernet, 66% of them are using Cisco, that's number one, and our next closest competitor is only 3%.
Wow, okay, that's the kind of gap we like to see.
That's a great gap.
But one we can't rely on necessarily. We've got to keep innovating and keep moving on that. And I can't help but notice you're wearing Thousand Eyes here on the jacket. I like that quite a bit. Tell me, what's the importance of Thousand Eyes as our strategy moving forward right now?
Yeah, well, we've always tried to help solve our customers' greatest challenges, whether it's IT or carrier, by looking at the network out. And what we realize is we not only need to look at what's happening inside the network, but we need to go and push that visibility even deeper and into the endpoints. And so you probably have heard of this phrase, digital experience monitoring. It's kind of the catchphrase of the year. So we have a great technology set with Thousand Eyes. It's been part of Cisco for 3.5 years now. We've integrated it into the entire networking portfolio, whether it's Meraki or Catalyst, put it in AppD, we put it in WebEx, we put it in security, and now we are pushing it out to the edges so that you can actually get the experience of what is the thing, the user, the application doing, and then where is the problem actually happening, and you can know that within seconds instead of knowing that within hours or tens of minutes or days even.
Well, it's funny because I remember the days prior to what we've been able to do with Thousand Eyes where you just kind of assumed, when we moved from the days of just private networking, that well, I don't know what's going to happen. Once it leaves my place, then I have no control over it. Exactly. And we've been able to prove, well, no, you should have a lot of control, and that control starts with visibility. As we do that, Thousand Eyes starts to sound like a low number for what you guys are now tracking. I don't know if the name still holds up.
Well, we were wondering if it should maybe be trillion eyes or something of that nature, but we do have billions of endpoints that we have visibility into, but we also, Thousand Eyes is doing billions of measurements of the global network, of enterprise networks where they've asked us to do that. And being able to correlate all that data together is where the magic really happens. And then be able to provide that in a simplified experience so you can say, hey, your Wi-Fi network is dropping traffic or has bad jitter or there's a latency issue or it's your carrier problem. And they have the best data and the best ability to correlate and make it simple.
Isn't it funny how well AI is lending itself so well to things like wireless, where we've had the most instability in terms of knowing what's going on, because now it's like my manager used to say is, don't tell me there's a problem, tell me the problem along with the solution or potential solutions. We're now seeing that happen in real time, and I like what we're doing there. Just to make sure we're clear on everything coming out of this, there's been announcements obviously around AI, but we continue to consolidate with security and AI. There's nothing that's unaffected, but what's important to understand in terms of where Cisco's going with security? Cloud still remains very present in terms of a delivery model. Can you make sure we understand what's important here?
Absolutely, well, applications are being delivered everywhere. They might be on-prem, they might be in the cloud, they might be both at the same time. And so you need to be able to secure that. So we announced how we were integrating Catalyst SD-WAN directly into Cisco's SSE stack, Cisco Secure Access. And so you can do that. Obviously you get all the Thousand Eyes benefits actually on both sides of that stack, both with Catalyst SD-WAN, but it's also integrated as part of the Cisco Secure Access as well. So think about how we're giving visibility, and then over time you're going to be able to reroute traffic through brownout conditions. So it's not like, hey, my network's down, but maybe I'm experiencing 5% packet loss, or my application experience isn't great for the following reason. We can let you know where it is, and then you'll be able to route around that effectively. So bringing all of these technologies together, that's the power of Cisco and how we want to be able to go and help our customers have better experiences.
Yeah, I do love when a plan comes together. But as we're leaving, I want to make sure that you've had a chance to kind of say, what is the one thing we should remember leaving from here? Because I feel like there's sometimes an over-rotation, especially with AI these days, but what is important to understand about what we've announced here that you want us to just not make the mistake missing as we go forward?
Absolutely, well Cisco is on the front edge of AI. AI is integrated into the majority of our portfolio, whether it's WebEx, through collaboration, security, networking, or observability. We have the ability to go and do that, and we've done it. And we have the best data, not just in networking, but across the board, and that makes for a better AI outcome for our customers. And go check out Thousand Eyes if you haven't done that yet.
Fantastic demonstrations, a lot of new stuff happening in that area. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And again, check out these demonstrations, whether you're here physically at the conference or online. Either way, you've got full and equal access. It's good stuff. Thank you.
Fantastic. Always love to hear from Jonathan. He's just so inspiring, and he's so on point with what it is that we're doing here at Cisco. As he said, without the network, there is no AI. It is so true, and you're going to hear that again and again and again throughout the week. Welcome back into the studio. I'm really excited. I've got Mohit Lad with me here in the studio, and among his many, many, many things that he does, co-founder and CEO of Thousand Eyes, and I'm not going to go into the full trek. You can read it down there in the lower third. Mohit, I'm so glad to have you back with me.
I'm thrilled to be here.
This is so much fun. All right, first things first, unzip the jacket a little bit. Talk to me about the t-shirt, if you would.
It's the notorious BGP. I think one of the things I always tell customers is you may or may not like our product, but you will definitely like our t-shirts. Like, we are a t-shirt company that also makes a product on the side, pretty much.
I love that, I love that, I love that. Part of the reason that I'm looking so forward to our opportunity to talk and have a conversation today, we get to explore what I think is such a huge topic in security and organizational insight, network assurance.
Yeah.
It is so fundamental, it is so foundational for you, for Thousand Eyes, and for your team. Why? Why is this such a key strategy for us at Cisco, but also for our customers?
Yeah, great question. So Thousand Eyes started because we believed the internet was going to become the center of digital experience, and it was a black box. So our whole concept was to demystify it for customers. And what's happened over the years is every digital experience that you can think of pretty much starts either at an endpoint, whether in home or a cell phone, and oftentimes ends in cloud. So the journey is very fragmented, and it's not just about the enterprise network, the private network anymore. And you should be able to assure this experience, which means you need to understand what's happening, why it's happening. I joke, but I have stickers on my laptop which says, go ahead, blame the network. The network's always blamed for everything. And typically, troubleshooting is a bottoms-up exercise. So you're looking at what's happening in my device, but that device may or may not even be a part of an actual network journey. So this is what network assurance is about. It's about collecting data from billions of endpoints. Jonathan mentioned this at the keynote, and being able to really pull all this intelligence together to help you understand every experience, even if it's coming from home and ending in cloud.
I love that, and I love the way that it ties into the FSO story as well, which we're talking about all day long, and I know that Thousand Eyes is a big part of that too. You brought up the keynote. One of the things we heard is the ways that Thousand Eyes innovations are helping our customers to assure their data experiences. So walk us through what is digital experience assurance? What is it all about? What is the value that it's delivering for organizations of all sizes all around the world today?
Yeah, so typically when you think about assurance, you're thinking about like Wi-Fi assurance, right? So hey, is my Wi-Fi working? But that's only part of the puzzle. So when we think about digital experience assurance, we're actually thinking about that entire journey. And to this extent, we've actually done a lot of stuff internally. We've innovated, but we've also acquired companies that help us complete the story. So we acquired a company called Samnos, really interesting company based out of the UK. That's giving us visibility from tens of millions of endpoints in home environments. That's coming into our data set. So when we think about this digital experience assurance concept, it is really thinking outside the box. It's not thinking about network devices and routers, it's thinking about experiences and really understanding what pieces of the experience are solved by what parts of the network, and pulling it together. So we announced Cisco Secure Access integration. That's a big deal because we are now able to combine with the secure access architecture to not only help customers secure, but also assure experiences from the endpoint. We've announced integration with Meraki, which I'm personally excited about as well because I run the Meraki stack at home, so I was the first one to actually push the agent on the Meraki device and turn it on. And by the way, I know we had Jonathan just talk about Thousand Eyes. And it's interesting how Jonathan gets into the weeds because he's pinging me on WebEx and asking me about how do I turn this off, turn that off. So I'm his personal tech support, by the way, for Jonathan. And he's in the weeds. And what we've realized is, even for us as network experts, sometimes understanding what's happening is very difficult. So we need the help. We need the help from not just one vantage point, but data coming together from all parts of the environment. So the integrations with Meraki, the secure access, we announced a partnership with AWS to do more on the cloud side, and there isn't really anyone who's looking at this experience in a true end-to-end manner. And that is really special about what we're doing here.
That is something that I wanted to ask you about because I think it's very unique within the Thousand Eyes and the Cisco offering, but all these areas of security, these were fairly siloed before. And I think a lot of our customers were telling us, yeah, I want to secure everything, but when I have to secure everything independently, individually, I'm not creating that holistic experience, right?
Yeah, that is correct. And I think there's an overload of tools everywhere, right? And similarly, there's an overload of agents for security. Like there's 5 different, or maybe 50 different security agents on an endpoint. And so the really fascinating thing that Cisco has taken on over the last year or two is to have one unified security architecture for agents. And so Thousand Eyes is like really integrating into that architecture. We see this consistently from customers. Don't tell me I need to install another agent. Like I have 50 agents queued up here that need to be installed on my laptop. And this is where I think the unified architecture, just pulling them together as modules in one agent is brilliant.
All right, I want to go to you personally a little bit about this because you're an entrepreneur at heart. I mean, yeah, you're a technical guy, but you're an entrepreneur. It means you're an innovator. You're an idea man. You founded Thousand Eyes. Here we are. We're in Amsterdam. You look around Cisco Live. You see these burgeoning new products and innovations in every direction around you. What gets you excited now when you're here at the show? Where do you look around and you say, there's the next big bet, things that you're keeping an eye on that we should keep an eye on as well?
Yeah, so lots going on, right? We are in the thick of innovation within Cisco networking, but let's park that on the side. It was first exciting to be at the keynote, and even what Jeetu talked about in Cisco Identity Intelligence, that is quite interesting and quite relevant. Like, I've personally seen my employees message me and say, hey, I'm about to send you that wire that you were asking, or the gift card they're asking. And I say, hang on a second, like, that message was not from me, because guess what? That message started with, hello, how are you doing? And if I was to ever message you, I would never ask how you're doing. I would just, just give me the shit, right? So that's how it works. And there's a lot of things happening with identity, and people are trying to be someone and create fraud. So I think that whole concept and how Cisco is approaching that is really interesting. I think we're definitely seeing AI becoming a whole new movement altogether. And one thing that I'm seeing interestingly within customers is, like, if you think about the cloud journey, right? A lot of customers were very late to adopt that, even though it's been a big thing. But I'm not seeing that with AI as much. Like, when we talk to customers want AI now, like they want it right now, versus the whole cloud journey was like a slow journey. A lot of customers said, we're not going to ever go there. And then it took years, and then finally they're going there. Not the case with AI, like everyone wants it now. That's what we're seeing. So I think that is a huge opportunity. And what I get excited about for Cisco in particular is the data we have. And this is what Jonathan mentioned this, we are a data company, we're an internet data company. We have such unique data. The ability to then use that data to drive meaningful insights and then complete actions for customers. This is also something Jeetu touched on in being able to apply firewall rules and make those changes. I think the whole concept is really interesting. I do see a lot of innovation going on the floors as well. I think the challenge is some of these are very much point solutions. And so this is an area where I think there has to be some level of consolidation where customers don't want too many products doing siloed things. So that's fundamentally the challenge in there.
I love it. It's great to get your insights on all that. AI, it's tangible. People are hearing about it everywhere. It's across the zeitgeist. It's not just for the network. Mohit, always such a delight to have you with us. I'm so glad that you and I had a few minutes here at the top of the day, because I know you're about to get really crazy, and Thousand Eyes is just going really boomingly. So really appreciate it. Thanks for your time today.
Good to be here. Thanks again.
All right, we are sort of staying with you though, because right now we're going to head out to Rob Boyd, who's out on the showcase with one of your team members, with one of your solutions architects. I think Rob is out there with, who are you out there with, Jack Riak?
I have got Jack with me out here, and yes, I am in the Thousand Eyes booth, and we're going to continue talking about Thousand Eyes all week, because as we talk about observability, we talk about a lot of the new announcements. It's all about visibility. Now, the word that was used was assurance, of course, and we focus on that, say, oh, well, this is assurance for SaaS applications. I would just ask you, what isn't a SaaS application? Because if it's not an actual SaaS application, I guarantee it has components that depend on connectivity that who knows what is going on behind the scenes. And Jack, you're a technical solutions architect from the UK. You're here talking to customers. For anyone that may not be that familiar with what Thousand Eyes really offers, I wonder if you could walk us through that basic pitch.
Sure. Yeah, let me show you something. So, look, we're talking about SaaS applications here, but let's start with home networks. We've got hybrid workers, people working from home. So now what we're looking at here is something called the Thousand Eyes Endpoint Agent. So we're monitoring for one of our end users, Sean Eustace here, and we're looking, and he's got a bad experience with the SSO for Cisco, right? So let's take a look and see what's going on. So I'm going to click here, which takes us over to this part here, and we can see what's going on with this home user's environment, right? So he's at home. He's on a very aptly named Wi-Fi access point name. He's got okay quality. His gateway, so that's his router, his modem, is 0% loss, 15% latency, that's okay. But if we see right over here, where we're trying to access that application, connection failed, right? So there's something going on from his home network to the application itself. So what we can then do is go from the user experience into that network. Let's see what's going on. So now we have a path all the way through, past his gateway, out through his ISP, and now we're hitting Hurricane Electric, and there's a big red ring there. So I want you to be my glamorous assistant here. Okay. Can you remember 92.122?
Blocked. Got it.
Got it. So, for this user, this is blocking him from going in. Right. Now, this is a 100-foot view. Now, we want to see, okay, well, what's going on for the rest of our employees in our offices across the globe? So, we can now switch to the Thousand Eyes Cloud and Enterprise agents. So what we're seeing here now is a test to the Cisco intranet, right? So it's not the SSO, but it's the Cisco intranet, so it's going to the same data center. Now, if we go to this map over here, if we have a look, I don't know if anyone with keen eyes would have seen, but Sean was based on the West Coast. Everything's okay, apart from Los Angeles, and some in India and in Bangkok, Thailand, right? So we know, hey, it's actually affecting some of our employees elsewhere as well. Now, what we can do then is say, okay, what about the rest of the globe? What about outside Cisco? And that's where Thousand Eyes Internet Insights comes in. So Thousand Eyes Internet Insights, we're collecting data from billions and billions of data points every single day. And we're able to say, without you even deploying agents or setting up monitoring, is there an issue with an ISP, a SaaS provider, a WebEx, for example, something like this? And okay, look, there's a lot of things going on here, but on the left-hand side, these are all the regions that are affected.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then if we move to the middle, we've got Hurricane Electric. And then if I click into this, Los Angeles, California, if you remember that. And do you remember the IP address?
92122.
Boom. There we go. So we have one interface in Hurricane Electric that's affected your home user, your users in the office, both in Asia and America, and it's also affecting the rest of the globe. So Thousand Eyes is giving you that end-to-end visibility, but not just from one single laptop, not just from your office, not just from your customer geolocations across the globe, but we're also getting it as well to show you the health of the internet. Go ahead.
Well, we've only got about 2 minutes left, and I didn't know if there was something else you wanted to show, but I did want to confirm one thing that you and I were talking about earlier is a lot of times we get very carried away with talking about how this can end the blame game. Yeah. I think we've probably used that in marketing terminology, and I do think that's healthy because what I'm always struck by is that when we are undergoing changes or we're just trying to figure out as we're troubleshooting, it can feel very alone. It can feel like, well, everything here seems okay, yeah, but there's a big bad world out there and it's constantly changing from second to second. But this feels like you are really setting us up to be able to identify not just that something's gone, but that something is trending towards maybe going away. Is that where you see the real benefit in terms of assurance being not about recovering quickly, but about preventing and really staying online, right?
I mean, the number one thing people will see is, oh, something is down, let's fix it. And Thousand Eyes can help with that. But one thing that's really, really helpful, and you're seeing a lot more, especially when things are being more redundant and you have more redundancy built in, it actually, yeah, performance is a big thing. So planning and optimizing your network and where you deploy is really, really critical. So whilst Thousand Eyes can help with those operational issues, those P1s, it's also really, really good to look and plan, build, and optimize as well. So for those IT network projects that you've got, you want a big tick in that box that says it's a success, Thousand Eyes can prove that.
That is awesome. So as we are connecting all these things and you're highlighting, is this information also becoming something that's easy to share perhaps with your service provider or with other parties to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, maybe you don't see it, I'm not trying to throw stones, I just want to say how can we work better together? Have you seen that become a thing?
Yeah, it sounds like you work for Thousand Eyes, to be honest, because one of the main things is right, you've got loads of service providers, loads of different third parties in between, that service provider there's another 2 or 3 on the back of that. So being able to share this information, and actually everything I've shared with you here today is something called a snapshot, right? So in the Thousand Eyes platform, you're monitoring, you're doing your own thing, you can take a snapshot and share that with your providers. So you're not going, hey, you're down, with no proof, you're going, hey, you're down, here's the proof, let's work together and fix this.
Well, this is fascinating stuff, Jack. Thank you for your time. Guys, I would just say in general, one of the things I love about Thousand Eyes is their whole team, even post-acquisition that's happened a while back with Cisco, we've been working with them together so tightly for so long, but they do a fantastic job communicating. I highly recommend their podcasts, their blogs, the Internet Traffic Report, I think it's called. Great stuff to really just broaden your mind, even on things you're hearing happen to your peers, other customers and things. Chances are high that there's going to be another angle to that story that Thousand Eyes is able to tell you about and then show you what they could be doing for you and your operations. So with that, we're going to go with Cedric. My name is Rob Boyd from the Thousand Eyes booth. We'll see you on the other side.
Great, thanks Rob, and some really great insights from Jack. We're going to wrap up this topic right now, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into FSO. So stay with us, stay tuned, we'll be back shortly.